The new Hyundai Avante, which is the 7th generation car and looking real sharp. But under the skin, is it still a great deal? Does it push the mainstream sedan segment forward? Find out. Okay, so this is the 7th gen Hyundai Avante, also known as the Elantra. Before we go on, you might like to check out our news story, our very in-depth news story on this car, which is all the measurements, the details, and everything you want to know on the website. We're going to summarize it here, but if you want all the details, check out that story. Okay, so the new Hyundai Avante, it has a new platform, new engine, new design, new everything. This is a brand new generation of Avante. And of course, the Avante is still a small, medium, mainstream sedan, competing with cars like, the Toyota Corolla Altis, Honda Civic since forever. Okay, so it's a very popular car in Singapore. It always has been a very good seller for Hyundai. And this time around, Hyundai, I think, is really upping the game. They're really taking chances here, and you can see that in the design of the car. Now, we kind of went over the design in our other video, but we're just going to take a close look right now. So, like we said, this is the Hyundai Avante Elite, which is the most expensive one at just over 100 grand. Now, you notice they're very wide front end section, like this new grille. So this car is only the second car to incorporate Hyundai's new design language, which is called parametric dynamics. And I think it's different. And like we said of Kia cars in recent times, Koreans are really advanced in design now. They're taking chances. They're not afraid to show what they can do. And really, the looks of this car almost speak for themselves. Let's take a look at that. Ooh, a real air vent. Wow. The LED lights, the silver grille. This is for the Elite. Very wide front end, very sporty. And what's interesting this time around is that Hyundai says the car is not really a sedan anymore. It's a four-door coupe, like everything else on the market. Okay, I'm just kidding, but you know what we mean. All right, so look around the side. You can see the very bold geometric shapes. See this part, the triangles all meet here. What used to be a design no has become design screw you, we're going to do what we want. And around the back you can see also a very obvious fastback shape. Another thing that Hyundai took from luxury or premium automobiles is the full width light bar. With light bar, and of course, again, like also what we see on the Kia Sorento, we have the word Avante spelled out. So that's like a little premium touch. Now let's look on the inside. Right, this is the back seat of the Avante, and the car is longer, lower and wider. That's what you would find out if you read our news story. Also, Hyundai boasts that the Avante has the longest wheelbase in the segment, only a little bit shorter than the Mazda 3. But in terms of real-world space, very, very good space here. So a lot of legroom for me. Headroom is okay. I mean, it's not terrible. There's a little cutout here for my head, so you don't really have a lot of compromises despite this being a fastback look. But the space is very nice, and I think 5 adults, you can fit 5 adults. 4 will be optimal, but 5 will still fit without having a fist fight. Alright, so this is the cockpit of the Avante, and you will obviously notice, it's gone really, really high tech. At one glance, you can tell it's very, very different from before. Is it still a mainstream sedan? Actually, that's what I think. First of all, we have our 10.25-inch digital instrument display. We have an 8-inch infotainment touchscreen, quite easy to reach. And in something of a Kia Hyundai hallmark, it's surrounded by a huge swath of gloss black plastic. Also, there's a little panel here which doesn't do anything at all. But that really is the only thing I don't like about the cabin. So it's very, very digital, quite sleek, nice to look at. And then the steering wheel also looks very nice to touch. Leather. Like I said, we're in the Elite version of the Avante, which is the most expensive one. So it has all the trimmings, every single option you could think of. Nice steering wheel, like I said, nice feeling steering wheel. Switch gear, I really have no complaints at all. It all feels really, really well put together. So this cockpit is kind of in 2 levels. There's a digital section here, and as you can see, there's this little kind of a driver-centric monoposto kind of feel. The grab handle here. This is all soft plastic. This is hard, but it all matches up quite well. It looks nice. They have a little fabric panel here. That's another nice touch. This part on top is hard plastic, but that's really the only big piece of hard black plastic on the whole cabin. The rest of it very well presented, very high quality, and also move forward in design terms as well. This is exciting to look at. And I don't know if you guys like the idea of a dual colored cockpit. Like this part is gray, but this part is black. And I think you can order it in all the same color if I'm not wrong. So I don't know. Tell us what you think about that. But you know, as like I said, the Avante has become a four-door coupe. It's become more exciting. This is how Hyundai is doing it, and it looks nice, and it's also still a very logical layout. So everything nice to touch, easy to use. I'm not wondering what anything does. This is still very a practical, easy to use car. So let's take a closer look at this 10.25-inch driver instrument panel. Quite sharp and quite fast to react as well. It's totally digital, as you can see, and we can customize everything according to what you want. So we saw a similar unit in the Kia Sorento. Again, another car that really pushes the mainstream segment forward. Let's check it out. Like, this is all data so far: speedometer, attention level, tire pressure. Very, very nice things to have in your daily life. You can even configure what you want in this menu. So like, if I want this or I don't want this, whatever, I can take it or leave it. So very cool. And another thing, this car has drive mode. So if you look down here, drive mode button. If I press this, then the layout of the screen will change as well. Of course, I can manually configure it to whatever display I want, but right now it's linked to drive mode. So sport, smart, you know, the usual drive modes that we see in premium cars nowadays. Okay, now let's take a look at this thing. 8-inch touchscreen. It's not the biggest nor the sharpest infotainment system we've used in the mainstream segment. I think the Mazda one looks a bit sharper and nicer. But one real standout feature right here, I have my phone in the wireless charging dock down there. One real standout feature is, you notice there's no cable, and I've got Android Auto wireless. Now that is a big deal because only very recently have all the luxury manufacturers gotten Android Auto on board, and none of them have it wireless unless you count BMW's recent over-the-air update. So Android Auto and Apple CarPlay wirelessly in a mainstream car. This is a big deal. Right, so we're on the move in the Hyundai Avante, and one of the first things that I noticed is that the car is really very refined and very quiet. So we just went over a tree root right there, very controlled. And that isn't always the case for mainstream sedans. Some of them don't ride that well, some of them aren't that quiet, but so far, very, very nice refinement, very low levels of noise and vibration on the inside. So really quite a quiet car, and this is a totally new platform, the Hyundai Kia K3 platform, and the engine is new as well. That's a Gamma 2 engine, totally new direct injection gasoline engine. And you remember that the previous one had been around for, I don't know, decades, years, centuries almost. So it's nice that they changed it to this one, which is more, which is slightly less powerful, 123 horsepower compared to 128, but overall much more efficient. And that's also down to the new continuously variable transmission CVT, but Hyundai calls this an IVT. And apparently they use chains instead of belts. Ooh, that sounds kinky. Chains instead of belts, which gives you a more direct driving experience. So CVTs often have a sludgy feel when you're driving, but this one doesn't. So I'm going to switch it into drive mode sport. So the pickup was quite quick. It's not quite as direct as a real conventional automatic, but it's still pretty good for a CVT. Not much of that sludge, and you just went around the corner as well. You can feel, maybe on the camera, maybe you can't see but it was very neat. You know, I just adjusted the wheel once, came back out. It wasn't wishy-washy at all. Okay, so we're getting over small tree roots here. So it actually feels a bit like an SUV. A little bit of a bumps. The little bumps, you can feel them. The big ones, you don't feel so much. But I think this has the edge over a lot of Hyundai SUVs or even other mainstream SUVs in that it's quieter. We can hear the so the little stuff, you can feel it, the big stuff, okay, you know, it's still quite a refined car. And that gearbox and this new engine is really, really smooth as well. Almost feels like a hybrid. I can't feel any vibrations whatsoever. Let's go around this roundabout. What is this Mercedes doing? He's lost just like me. Hey. So I'm on the gas now. Really smooth, no vibrations at all. I think our car buy editor Lionel has driven a further distance in this car, and I think his efficiency score was close to what was claimed. I think you could probably easily get 6 point something liters per 100, which makes it a little bit more efficient than the previous one already. The previous one was 6.7, I think. That was the old engine. And another thing I want to point out about the new Avante is something that you should expect from almost every new mainstream car, and that is a lot of active safety features. So we have blind spot indicators, we have the forward collision warning for pedestrians, cyclists, cars at the junction, cars that are stationary. So the takeaway, I think, is that if you want to crash this car, you got to try really hard. And another nice feature is adaptive cruise control, which also has a lane following system. So it's almost semi-autonomous. It's not self-driving, okay? This is still an assist system, but it'll go all the way from a stop and follow the car in front of you during a traffic jam. That's a really, really useful feature to have. So to sum up, the Avante looks nice outside and inside. It's got a heck of a lot of features. It's got wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which is a big deal. Very, very digital cockpit. It drives well, it's really smooth, it's quiet. It's probably going to be quite efficient as well. Is there anything we don't like at all about the Avante? I think really the only things we can complain about is the styling and the cockpit layout. Maybe some of you won't like it. Maybe the styling in a few years' time might look a bit weird, because you know, some cars age well, some cars don't. Typically the cars that don't age well are the ones that take a lot of risks in design. So that's just something to keep in mind. But other than that, who are the competitors for this car? The usual suspects: the Honda Civic, Toyota Corolla Altis, Mazda 3. And of the three, I think the 3 is the one to 3. I think the 3 is the one to look at, because the Mazda is the only one with a mild hybrid system. Also has a VES rating of A2, A1, whatever the first band is. So next year, this car, as well as the Mazda, could get cheaper because of the improved VES scheme coming into play in January of 2021. And also, the Mazda has just as many, if not more, active safety features as this car. Also, the interior layout is a bit nicer. It feels a bit more posh. The car drives very, very well as well. A bit more sporty, a little bit less comfortable, maybe a little bit less room at the back. But price-wise, all three major variants are on the same level. Around 90 grand for the basic one, mid-90s for the mid-level S model. The Mazda will be the elegance model. This model, the top line model, 100 plus elite model, up against the Mazda Astina, Mazda 3 Astina trim. So both very, very advanced cars, pushing the mainstream segment forward a lot. So this will give you an idea of what you should expect going forward in 2021 from mainstream cars for around 100 grand. A really, really impressive car and a really impressive jump for Hyundai. Now, if you like this video, please subscribe to carbuyer.com.sg's YouTube, hit the bell, visit the website, and we'll see you again soon.